Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Warriors want to sign players with past NBA championships and experience. Warriors owner Joe Lacob's goal is to win another championship. Rumors: Warriors want to sign Khris Middleton. If the Golden State Warriors were certain about investing in Jonathan Kuminga, they would have extended him this season. They did not, and Kuminga might sign with another squad this summer in unrestricted free agency, especially if he's offered something in the realm of the $30 million per year deal he's rumored to be seeking. The Warriors are spending a combined $140 million next season on Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. It might not benefit them to pay Kuminga enormous money from a roster-building standpoint. If and when Kuminga does leave, the Warriors will likely check in on former Milwaukee Bucks NBA champion Khris Middleton, who has a $33.3 million player option for 2025-26. Given his recent injury history, most people assume Middleton will opt in and grab that $33.3 million, but what if the Warriors presented a multi-year deal to Middleton that equated to more total cash, but less per year? Such a contract might entice Middleton if he's thinking that he wouldn't have a ton of leverage entering unrestricted free agency in the summer of 2026 and about to turn 35. Something like a 3-year, $50 million deal might make Middleton bite, especially considering he'd have the opportunity to play with Curry and Butler and ostensibly compete for a title again. The competitor in Middleton would see Golden State as a far better basketball situation than Washington, with all due respect to the lowly Wizards. The above figure is an arbitrary one, by the way. We'll have to see how the market shakes up. Middleton could be in line for more money or less if he's willing to opt out. He's looked more athletic recently playing for the Wizards as compared with his final months with Milwaukee before he was traded in a deal that delivered Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks. The three-time NBA All-Star is averaging 17.4 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per 36 minutes for Washington so far through 8 games. After undergoing arthroscopic surgeries on both ankles last offseason, Middleton might be poised for a bounce-back year in 2025-26 based on his recent production and spry step. He would fit well on a team that gave birth to the Splash Brothers. Middleton has always been a threat from 3, but B also dominates in the mid-range, sort of like Jimmy Butler. According to NBA.com's John Schumann, Middleton's 58.5% from mid-range last season was the best mark for a player with at least 150 mid-range attempts in the 29 seasons for which we have shot location data. Middleton isn't getting any younger, but he actually fits on Golden State's win-now timeline alongside Butler, Curry, and Green. In fact, he makes much more sense from a timeline perspective than Kuminga does. Warriors fans, keep an eye on this guy. One Warriors flaw could bite them in the playoffs. There is no debate about the fact that the Golden State Warriors have taken off since the trade deadline, and Steph Curry has them on a playoff trajectory once again. The acquisition of Jimmy Butler has ignited a spark of all sparks, and the Warriors are presently in playoff positioning, and they don't appear to be letting up anytime soon. That said, Golden State is not void of flaws. One flaw they are currently showing has progressed throughout the season and might become troublesome in the postseason. One Warriors flaw could bite them in the playoffs. Steph Curry and Golden State Warriors need to fix one crucial weakness heading into the playoffs. Butler hasn't exactly lit the scoreboard up since shedding his Miami Heat jersey for new Warrior threads. In fact, his offensive production has been largely underwhelming. He's had far too many nights scoring less than double digits and a handful of other nights with less than 20. Yet, the Warriors have been on a 13-2 tear since he joined them. There are 9-1 in their last 10 games and on a 6-game winning streak. That record could improve tonight when they welcome the New York Knicks to the Bay. Despite the exciting turnaround from a play-in team to the 6th seed in the West, there might be a weakness in Golden State's overall game that could hurt them in a 7-game playoff round. On a recent episode of the Athletic NBA Daily, Zena Keita expressed worry regarding the Warriors' struggle to maintain big leads, 1,700 hours mark. they'd blown 5 leads of 10 points and 10 fourth-quarter leads. Khris stated that this could be an issue come the playoffs and talked about the focus the Warriors need to be successful. You do what you're supposed to do, coming out and stepping on the jugular of another team, 23 points up, against a team you're supposed to be up by that many points, and because you're focused on making sure Steph gets a 3, or you're focused on making sure Quentin Post can score inside, or whatever the focus might be for that night, you get derailed, and teams take advantage of that and find a way to get points off turnovers. They find a way to get back into games they shouldn't be in, Khris said. Right now, the Warriors have every tool that they could possibly need to be successful and make a splash in the West. It's just going to be a matter of how focused are they on a given night? Discipline, discipline, discipline. Whether the Warriors' fortunes had shifted significantly with the addition of Butler was questioned at the beginning. It was a huge signing, of course, but the Warriors traded for Butler because they wanted and needed playoff Jimmy. For the time being, those questions have laid low. How impactful the trade was will come to fruition in April, and further provided Golden State can advance. Nevertheless, the Warriors must get a handle on their focus and discipline when they're up big in games. Blowing leads to the Denver Nuggets or Oklahoma City Thunder won't cut it. Curry knows this, Draymond Green knows this, and Butler knows it. Will they fix this flaw? Time will tell. ESPN analyst mistakenly dismisses playoff greatness of Warriors trio. This might prove to be a terrible take. As the Golden State Warriors continue their hot streak in having now won 13 of their last 15 games, they now sit as a serious playoff contender as they place themselves right in the mix of the best teams in the Western Conference. Jimmy Butler's arrival to Golden State has signaled an evident shift in both mindset and on-court product for the team, and his trademark intensity on both ends of the floor has elevated them out of the mediocrity that defined most of their season to this point. As the playoffs approach, many around the NBA are beginning to take the Warriors seriously as an outside contender as a result of their recent dominance. Yet one ESPN analyst, Kendrick Perkins, believes that their Western Conference rival, the Minnesota Timberwolves, are actually a more serious contender for a title this year. Kendrick Perkins vastly underestimates Warriors' playoff pedigree. On Wednesday's episode of First Take, former NBA player and current analyst Kendrick Perkins appeared to help preview the marquee matchup between the Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets that took place that night. He expressed that he was bullish on the Timberwolves, stating they're more serious than the Golden State Warriors to me when it comes to being a threat in the Western Conference. And now what we're watching is a Minnesota Timberwolves team that has found their identity again, and that's getting it done defensively. The Timberwolves currently sit in play-in position, a half game back of the Warriors for the 6th seed. While they have struggled to find their identity as a team since the preseason trade of Karl-Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks, their recent 5-game winning streak has catapulted them right back into the playoff mix in the Western Conference. While the Timberwolves are playing their best basketball of the season, Perkins makes a grievous mistake in dismissing Golden State's playoff chances out of hand. Not many players in the NBA have the playoff resumes of Stephen Curry, who has won 4 titles with the Warriors and 1 Finals MVP, averaging 27 points across 147 career playoff games. Curry is playing some of the best basketball of his career as of late. Moreover, there are only a handful of players in the history of the league that can lay claim to the defensive acumen and basketball mind possessed by Draymond Green, whose veteran leadership could help solidify Golden State's defense against even a juggernaut such as the Thunder. Yet while Curry and Green are both entering the twilight of their careers, the X-factor on this Warriors team is truly Jimmy Butler. The 6X All-Star is known for ramping up his game in the playoffs throughout his career, having led 2 subpar Miami Heat teams to the finals during his tenure there. The Timberwolves, meanwhile, have a vastly different look from the team that made the Western Conference Finals last year in a weaker Western Conference. While Anthony Edwards, their star player, has performed exceptionally well in the playoffs to this point in his career, he is still young and may not have the necessary experience to put the team on his back when it is needed. Julius Randle, who has finally seemed to find his comfort zone in Minnesota recently, has only won 1 playoff series in his career and averages 17.1 points across only 15 career playoff games. Rudy Gobert, their defensive anchor, can at times be a neutral or even negative presence on offense and has been played off the floor throughout his career during the postseason. Therefore, while their exact relation in the standings is yet to be determined, Perkins is severely mistaken in taking the Timberwolves over the Warriors as serious contenders in the playoffs this season.